Heidi ho 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 ho. Heidi ho. I'm going to move this over here. I like to see this smiley face. There you go. Anyways, welcome back to Unit 4, Lesson 4. This is Part D. And we will be finishing this up. And there's really only this one problem, or I guess, yes, this is one example. It was a good time to stop. The other video was at 35 minutes. This one will probably take, I don't know, 6-7 minutes because there's going to be some explanation here. But let's continue with exponential growth and decay models involving interest. Okay, so obviously they're the same thing. You have your beginning amount. All right, let's use highlighters. We have our beginning amount, right? That's the same. We still have our 1, okay, plus or minus our rate. Okay, you see our rates up here. And we have times time, which I will do in green. Okay, but we have this new little variable. Okay, and it pops up in 2 spots. I hate to use purple. Do we have a lighter purple? What's a gray highlighter look like? Look at that. That's kind of cool. I got to use that more. This N, it is below R, meaning it becomes the denominator for R. Your rate now is a fraction, where your rate will be in the top, and this N value will be in the bottom. And then it also shows up here in the exponent where we multiply it times our time. All right? So the big question is, what does this N represent? Well, I mean, if you look a little bit further in the notes, there's a little bit of the description right here. A is still our initial amount. Okay? And T is still our time. Okay? And you know what? They don't have R here. But R is obviously still our rate. But don't forget, we want that in decimal. We don't want that. Okay, and let me say this one more time. We do not want that in percent. And last but not least, we have this N. And that's where it pops up in the bottom of the fraction and multiplying in the exponent. Okay, but what does N mean? That is the number of compounds per year. So let me give you a brief rundown of what this can mean. When it comes to N, they can say it's compounded annually. That means N would equal 1. In fact, let's do this. Let's do a little table, shall we? N would be 1. All right? If it is semi-annually, that means twice a year, right? So my N would be 2. Okay, that's not too bad. If it is quarterly, I'm trying to fight this board. You see it's trying to pull everything down as I write. It's quarterly, that is 4 times a year. Okay? And what would be after quarterly? Bi-monthly? I hate to use that term. If they say bi-monthly, that's every 2 months. Bi-monthly. That's every 2 months, so that would be 6 times a year. Now, I'm going to put a little asterisk here because sometimes bi-monthly means twice a year. So that's 1, and again, because my board is messed up, sometimes that's twice a month. Like I get paid bi-monthly, twice a month or whatever. It used to mean every 2 months, and then slowly and surely bi-monthly started to become twice a month. But it can mean either or. So I'm going to put an asterisk next to that thing. You're probably not going to see that. Okay. Next, if your interest is compounded monthly, that would be 12 times a year, right? Oh, I got to move this over my smiley face. Cover it. No, let's put it right there. Okay, and there's 2 more I want to go over. If it is weekly, there are 52 weeks in a year. And if they compound something daily, that's the assumption that there are 365 days in a year, okay? So if it gives you any of these terms here, okay, your N value would mean the corresponding annually would be 1, semi-annually would be 2, quarterly is 4 because that's 4 times a year. Bi-monthly, 6. Monthly, it's 12 times a year. Weekly, it's 52 times a year. And daily is 365. So my N will change depending on the context of the problem. All right? So let's go ahead and start to do some of these problems. Let's look down here. Example 1. You put $1,000 in a college savings account for 4 years. The interest pays 5% annually. How much would be in the account at the end of the time? All right, so $1,000 is what we're starting with. That's our initial amount, A. 4 years, that's our time. Okay, the interest pays 5%. That's our rate, but don't forget we want that in decimal. 0.05. Annually tells me how many times a year. That's 1. N would be 1. How much would be in the account at the end of this time frame? Let's set up our equation. 1,000 times 1 plus, okay? Anytime you put interest and your interest pays you, that means you're making money. Okay, 1 plus. My rate, okay, this is my initial amount. My rate would be 0.05 over my N, which is 1, raised to the NT. My N is 1 times my time is 4. That's my entire exponent. All I do is put that in the calculator and hit enter. And let's do that right now. Let's open up our calculator. There it is. And I'm going to put this equation right as I see it in the calculator. Okay, obviously the A, the N, the R, the N, and the T won't be there. 1,000. Parenthesis, I get 1 plus. I tell you, I love alpha y equals. And I hit enter. I tell you, I love having that fraction. My rate is 0.05 over my N, which is 1, times an exponent, or raised to an exponent of 1 times 4. If I do that right, I will see. Now, this is money, okay? Money doesn't go any further than the hundredths place because that's the smallest denomination of money, a penny, okay? So this 0 would round up to a 1 because the number after it is 5 or bigger. So it'll be 1,200. Yeah, I'll be okay. That would be 12,000. I would love to have 12,000. In fact, this board is so off, it's crazy. $1,200, $15 and 51 cents. Bam, there you go. Not too bad. Let's take a look at the next question that still asks us about our current situation here, about our $1,000 in here. How much would be in our accounts if you were paid interest monthly? The only thing that's going to change, my N value, you now get it 12 times a year. Okay, so I'm going to use the same thing. I'm still putting $1,000 in to the account. 1 plus. My interest rate is still 0.05. The only difference is my N value is now 12 because I'm getting my interest monthly instead of annually. That is 12 times a year. Annually was 1 time a year. Okay, I'm still raising that to the N times my time. Okay, that is, my N is now 12 times my time, which is 4. All right, so we're going to go back to the calculator. We're going to put this in. And the beautiful thing about the calculator, and you should all know this by now, is if I go up to my expression here before I hit enter, and I hit, once it's highlighted, I hit enter, it retypes it for me. So the only thing I need to change is I need to make my 1 into a 12. Okay? Same thing with my fraction here. 12. So now everything else is the same. And if I hit enter, that looks good. Okay, it's a little bit more money, more money, more money. So if I look at this now, again, pennies Pennies from heaven. That's what I need. I need some money to drop out of the sky. Be nice. Okay. 89 is going to round up to 90 because the number after the 9 is a 5. So I will get $, $1,220.90. Okay, that's slightly more than my $1,215. Okay, it's only $5. Yeah, because it's a small amount. If you had 100,000 in there, it might be more. If you had 1,000,000 in there, that small amount becomes bigger. Okay, why does that happen? Why am I getting more? Because my interest, I'm getting that 5%, not just once a year, but 12 times a year. So it makes sense that I should get more money because my interest is being paid to me more frequently. All right. Now, how much would be in the account if you paid interest quarterly? If you got your interest quarterly, that means N would equal 4. Okay. Everything else is the same. I still have my $1,000. Still 1 plus my rate, which is 0.05 over N. This time my N is 4 raised to N times T. Okay, I'm going to go back to our handy-dandy calculator. I am going to, boom. Everything is going to be the same, but my N is going to change to 4. This 12 and this 12 will change to 4. So I go up here, I hit enter. And I go down here, I hit 4, and I make sure I want to delete that 2. Delete. You don't want to multiply times 42. That would be majorly different. I turn that, I'll delete the first one, and I'll put that 2 to a 4. There we go. Everything is exactly as we need it. And now I hit enter. I get $1,219.89. This 8 will round up to a 9 because the number after it is 5 or bigger. Okay? So let's compare. Let's compare these values. I get $1,219.89. Now, all things being considered equal, meaning I put in $1,000, okay? I put in my $1,000 right there. Well, I can't do that. This board is just terrible. Highlighter, highlighter. That isn't even a highlighter. Here, I put in my $1,000 every time. It's in there for 4 years every time. Okay, I don't touch it. I get 5% every single time. If the only thing that changes is my N value annually, it's a 1. Okay, same thing. The only thing that changes is my N value turns to a 12. Okay, my N value turns to a 4. The bigger the N value, the more money I'll make. Okay, when my N value was 1, when I got paid interest once a year, $1,215. When I got it 12 times a year, that's more. It's $1,220. When I got it 4 times a year, well, this is more. My $1,219 is more than once a year because my N was 4, but it's going to be less than 12 times a year. Okay? If everything was the same, that's how this works. All right? So that's the end. Yeah, look, oh my God, a blank page. That's the end. We are done. Okay? Hopefully you come back. I haven't scared you off for Unit 4, Lesson 5. I wonder what goodies will be in the bag. Only one way to find out is for you to come back. I'll see you for Unit 4, Lesson 5.